So at 5:30, I call the Plymouth Village Water and Sewer District meeting on July 24th to order. And let's begin with meeting minutes.
I make a motion we accept the minutes from July 10th meeting.
All those in favor?
You
Oh,
can
second, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I make a motion we sign the manifest and payroll as presented.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Sign and pause.
Pause for signing.
Are those your copies of what you usually get?
These, no. This is something different. I need to ask you about, I got signatures of the trustees of trust.
We can get them.
No, I know, but I just need to make sure after I sign it, I get it to them. It has to be notarized. My signature, it looks like.
We can get it to them.
Okay. This one here. After the signatures of the 3 trustees of trust.
Okay,
And,
all right. Okay, and then we'll have Kim notarize it.
okay, fine, then I'll sign it and leave it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you sign it, then we'll
Yeah.
circulate it
I just
out.
didn't know whether you had somebody,
Yeah.
whether I needed to do it in front of.
Well, on to new business. And first up is the very exciting announcement that we have been awarded a large amount of money.
Yes. Lots of money.
Yeah, that summary you might
Yeah,
want
I've
to
got
go
a
through.
nice summary in
Yeah.
front of me here. So the shorthand of this is, it's about $5.5 million, and this comes from USDA Rural Development. And this is as we had hoped and prayed for, which is about 40 to 45% of the
Right,
monies in front of us.
so to refresh, this was from what we discussed at district meeting,
Right.
and it's the warrant articles. And
These were our bond issues,
Right.
and I'll fill in a couple
Yes,
of...
please.
sure,
The announcement tonight is the result of grant applications that totaled some 13 million, and we are going to get 42% of that in grant dollars wholly.
that's
And then
free and clear money.
And then that's not the end of it. The New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services has promised half of our $800,000 grease receptor project. So that's another $400,000 in grant monies.
Potentially.
No,
That's
that's,
to go.
That's
they-
good,
I mean, they
okay.
were so impressed with Jason for proposing this grease unit. They wrote to us, they singled us out and said,
Okay,
can we
good.
pay half, which
All right.
we really appreciate.
So that puts us over 6 million.
And we are on the priority list for the drinking water SRF project. And you can't read this spreadsheet, but basically,
life.
I can read it actually, only because I know what it says. Our well development project, which is 3.3 million, we've asked for half. And we don't know yet, but we're number 11 on the priority list of 72.
Holy wow.
Right, so we're in favorable standing, and you'll remember, this funding would give us 20%, and the MBTE, we asked for half. We don't know what we'll get granted, but the 5.5 million of the 13 million is 42%, and then this other funding, we'll just wait to see if
Right.
we can get it.
So the water and sewer projects that were part of the bond issues were the 13.
Yeah, you can read this if you
million.
want. They're right there.
Go ahead. You want me to do it or you do it?
It's not a list of the bond issues.
No, but these were the bond issues.
Oh, right,
that
well,
were
just
13 million.
in general, right, for
Yeah,
the
so the
water.
people who were at our meeting remember that we had said it could be up to 45%.
Right, so under water, the Main Street water main replacement, what we had was a $500,000
Bond.
bond, right, and And we had phases 2 and 3 of the Main Street project of 3.772 million, and then Bailey Avenue and Langdon Park Road, 250,000, and then a generator for, I believe, for pump station number 1 maybe, or
No,
2?
pumps, for the Foster Street
Foster
wells.
Street, okay, right,
That top section's all water.
Water.
okay, yes, right. And then sewer, we have Main Street sewer main replacement, 4.7 million, Bailey Avenue, 250,000, we have a force main, 1.5 million, pump station number 1, 1.64 million, and septage receiving, that ongoing work, 750,000. So that totals up to our 13.35 million. In projects, we're getting 42% of that, which is 5.5 million.
What's really cool is if you break this down, it pretty much pays 100% the Main Street project, plus the septage receiving unit,
Yeah,
plus the generator,
right.
just free and clear,
And
paid for.
we've said this before, but this is the culmination of a lot of work.
Oh, yes.
Advice, first of all, from rural development fellas up in
For a long-term approach.
up in Montpelier, and then Jason, working with Mike Terrio at Wright Pierce, has really brought this whole thing together. Long-term planning, as you
Right.
quoted in the news release. So you should take a bow.
Actually, Jason should take a bow, and Mike should take a bow, and you should take a bow. We just went, please give us money so we can get money.
Right. This is a real boon for the
Well,
district.
it's so different from the way, you know, like we said at district meeting, this is so different from the way we've ever looked at getting funding. You know, we've always done it project by project by project, rather than over a span of years in order to capitalize on the money. And, you know, all the advice we got about doing that obviously paid off, so fantastic.
To thank the voters too for.
Exactly,
Yes,
they
yes.
had confidence
That was
that we were gonna be able to get that 45%.
Chris thanks them in the news release. We didn't forget.
So the news release will be going into the Record Enterprise.
Yeah, the news release, Mike Terrio's gonna release it down in the southern tier, and we'll get it on the website, we'll get it in the local papers, complete with a picture of Chris and I with Mark Kaprowski
Yes, right.
from RD.
So we anticipate the work will begin next year sometime.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's a discussion that needs to be had. Now that we know we do have the funding, do we start on pump 1 and the septage receiving unit? I think Jason should join that discussion. And I talked to Mike after, you know, I've wondered whether we should wait so that we're not paying interim financing interest. You know, with the septage receiving unit, we got started late because the bids came in too high. We had to cut things out before we got going.
Yeah, and then in the competitive contractor market, it may just make sense to try and start this whole process early in the year next year. I guess.
Yeah, I think you might want to, Jason, I think, thinks maybe we should get going on pump 1 and the septage, and you also had even said maybe.
Oh,
we
the
do
septage receiving,
unit,
yes.
Because that's a revenue getter.
Yes.
Generator.
Yes.
And so, I mean, that's the discussion that needs to be had tonight.
Yes.
And then Jason can get guidance to feedback to Mike. Are we gonna get going on pump 1 and the septage receiving unit? And are we gonna do something with Bailey Ave and Langdon Park Road? Or just stop and put things out to bid next year?
Mm-hmm.
Mike was in favor of getting going. I'll just tell you that.
Oh, okay. Okay. So,
Want to add to that? Want Jason to weigh in?
well, yes, I was going to
Yes.
say, there's no time like right now to be,
Well, that's why that's there.
yes, project commencement timetable, yes.
Yeah, I think thinking big picture, long-term stuff, the Pump Station 1 project across the road here has a lot of pieces that need to fall into place. So I think the sooner we get this going, those other projects would fall into place, such as the force main coming over to
Right,
it.
because this has to be up and bigger
Right.
before the force main can connect.
And also the main interceptor line going back down to the plant needs to be done shortly thereafter as well. So there's a couple of key components that need to play into the decision whether we wait till next year or start this year. Also, the project duration, the estimated time for the project is about a 10 or 11 month window. So it may be
It'd be in,
either a shutdown at the beginning of the project or potentially a shutdown at the end of the project if we do wait to next year.
I see.
So it may not make a difference whether we start now or wait.
Okay.
It's really, you know.
And if we have
up
a
to
mild
you guys.
winter, there's a potential that we can keep going.
Correct.
yeah,
And a lot of the upfront delay, essentially what we saw with the septic project is there's a lot of time for submittals. You know, contractor gets the contract and then has to, you know, procure all the equipment and everything. And there's a lot of time for submittals and review, so
back and forth with the engineers.
some of that might be able to go in during the winter months, you know, for a month or two as well. So that's something to consider.
And then how about septic receiving?
Septic receiving, we'd like to have that open for next spring for the trucks. So
Because
that
that's
one,
revenue, so that
Right.
makes
Right,
sense to
right.
get that up and going quicker than,
yeah. So yeah, that's includes the scale and the automated gate in that next phase, and the grit drying pad. So all of that stuff, we'd like to begin offering those services and account for how much septic we get in with the scale. Our accountants, you know, would request that. So.
Chris, would it make sense to have Jason come up with a schedule based on what the projects are? So that we can,
Well, it would be septic,
Pump
pump
one.
one, and then Bailey Ave and Langdon Park Road. Those three. If we want to get going,
then let's get going,
okay, no, that,
right?
fine, yes, no argument. whatsoever.
I mean, especially
We just, once
because,
we got the funding in place, I wanted you to give us guidance. Do we
Yeah.
go, or do we hold?
I think we go, especially because one's a revenue generator
Right.
and one, so many other projects hinge upon.
Yeah,
I didn't
So,
realize, yeah, that's a 10-month, just 10-month
Yeah.
So-
timeline for,
so either way, we're gonna be over winter.
right.
And Mike thought we could get favorable bids going out now, but as Jason and I mentioned right before you all came in, even if we tell Mike, all right, get things ready starting tomorrow, we've got financing, go ahead. It's
right,
gonna
it's
take
still, he has to
till
come up
October
with-
probably until we could accept a bid,
Right,
so.
Right.
yeah, so go fast,
Yeah, okay. After we waited, we'll go fast.
right?
Fine, great,
Well,
thank
you know, it always happens this way, you wait and wait and wait, and then it's like, okay, now we go,
A lot of
full
things-
steam ahead.
A lot of things coming together at the same time right now,
That's so
tonight.
cool.
Yeah, it is pretty exciting. All right, we will proceed. Thank you.
We will proceed. Sam, number renewal letter.
Yeah, this is oh, you know the name of this number, Sam. You said it a couple weeks ago.
I might have, but I'm not recalling it right now.
System for Award Management.
Oh, okay.
Sam, we have a SAM number. It's in the custody of Kim, and it has to get renewed every once in a while. And this is the letter that we need in order to renew our SAM number. I don't think it needs to be renewed until September, but it's not something you want to let expire because
What, could you
then
explain what this is?
it's the way that you report into the feds
Oh, I remember.
on federal grant dollars.
Oh, well, we need this, because
We
we
need
have
this,
lots
yeah,
of
and
federal grant dollars.
I was in a town where they had let it expire before I arrived, and it was not easy for them to get it renewed in any
Right.
kind of good time frame. So that's the letter, and you could probably vote on it, and then Chris can sign it.
Is it Chris signing it, or,
Chris,
Yes, it is, yes.
Okay.
Or at least it's suggesting that.
okay,
he's
So-
basically authorizing Kim to have his
Oh, okay.
SAM number renewed.
Okay.
Or you all are authorizing
Okay.
with his
So
signature.
now you know what the motion should be.
I make a motion that we have Chris sign the SAM number letter so that our important grant funding money letter doesn't go expired and authorize Kim to do whatever she's got to do.
Well, notarize it among other things, yes.
Right.
Okay. So, second. Sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank
It's
you.
hard when there's only two of us. You
Yes,
don't have
right.
a third person to bounce things off of.
Have to work harder.
Yeah, well, I'm like 2 steps ahead. Okay.
She's not letting that out of her sight. She knows what happens if
Yeah.
it goes
Oh,
away.
It's ugly. I just was glad I was just
Next up,
watching it.
abatement request.
Next up is an abatement request, and somebody that just moved here didn't know what would happen if they used their lawn sprinkler extensively. Yeah, you can read it.
Okay.
We sometimes abate the sewer amount since it didn't run through sewer. I still have to pay for the water. But my question was, I thought we put out a little drought notice a few weeks ago.
Yes, right.
Yes,
Well,
I-
actually, I have
well-
seen a number of, at least several
Yes.
people.
Well, when you
watering
get new
the-
grass, you gotta water it, but this is not the year to be getting new grass. And they've been homeowners since 2016?
Well, it is a bit unusual, but nonetheless, the water did not go through the sewer system.
Yes.
Any precedent that you recall in your time on the board for such matters?
Usually people get one.
It seems like that would be.
No, people get one if their water heater breaks
Or they freeze.
or they freeze. People don't get one because they accidentally watered their lawn.
Okay. I don't have any stake in this, so.
Well,
Can we table this until Steve comes? Because I will vote no.
Of course.
that's fair.
Well, even if you voted yes, that would be failed, wouldn't it?
That's why I want to wait till
Okay,
Steve
to have
comes.
3
Yes.
people if he comes, and then we can wait 2
Request.
weeks.
I would like to
Yeah,
make it
that's-
fair rather than just 2 of us voting on it.
All right.
Fair
that's
enough.
Very good. All right, tabled.
All right. Old business.
48.
Septic unit project update.
Yeah.
Jason, please.
Do you want
So-
to
sure.
join us?
So we've met substantial completion as of July 10th.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So there's a few
Excellent.
items to close up on.
The punch lists.
We did a walkthrough and created a punch list. And I believe that was sent to Penta today for follow-up items. There's a few things we're looking at in the changing balance, the last change order. And we were hoping to put together numbers for tonight, but we didn't get there. Mike just sent them out this afternoon, so there may be some items to look at closer. We're gonna discuss that with Mike. There may be an item in the change order, so that may be over what we had budgeted.
Ah, yes.
We
So ref-
don't know yet, but
Right.
I have the capital reserve stuff here because we have $300,000 plus in the wastewater treatment plant expansion or update account.
Upgrade, right?
We've used some for this project already, $140,000, and we may need to come back to see if the board will.
Is this in reference to that, something that was needed in it that you hadn't originally specified, something like,
Right, there was a
Fine.
blower switch cost proposal.
Right.
Yeah, those are new things.
Those are new things, but there's also some contractor extensions that they requested, and there may be some overages under the construction administration lines. So we're in the middle of negotiating that,
Yeah,
potentially with Penta.
Yeah.
And we'll see
Negotiating's good.
where we can get with that.
mm-hmm. So is that because we're behind schedule or it's taken longer? Is that what I'm understanding? Or-
Yep, there's been a contract extension request submitted by Penta based on slow progress during the winter and the short period of shutdown. And in that time, the project site representative had to be on site based on RD requirements
Brian
to
Hilliard,
observe.
the engineer.
Yeah.
So they only, I believe, budgeted half-time to coincide with the Foster Street project, but the Foster Street project ended up getting over, this project got delayed, so Brian was here more time than what was.
We don't have a choice in that one.
Right,
Right.
That's
right.
caused some of the expense and,
I'm surprised we haven't heard about this sooner, but,
well, that you have heard about it sooner. I mean,
right,
we're just understanding it now, so we're telling you as soon as we,
Okay.
as soon as we know. These projects are so big and so complicated. I mean, even if best laid plans to
Right.
go out, say for pump one, with the timing and the interim financing and having the resident engineer on board, there's a lot of moving parts and I might get frustrated, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the work
right.
on the ground, and sometimes things just come as they do, and we have to sort it out and do the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, some of it with our engineers too. I mean, we have a contract with them, but then we always ask them to do something different and something else, and they're going to bill us for it. You know, and we get a little frustrated. We say, "Jeepers, Mike, you didn't let us know. Was this going to be within the contract?" This is not the septic project, but extra effort with RD.
Right.
And then he can't anticipate when Jonathan Harries and the folks up at Montpelier say, well, no, what about these 10 things? And then Mike has to go back to his desk
Right.
and respond to them. It's all time and money, you
Yeah.
know? So we keep on top of Mike, and
We'll pay the couple $1,000s extra to get 5 million.
yeah,
Right.
you will, you're right. It's true.
You know,
I mean,
there's a $5.5 million check staring me in the face. I'm not gonna say anything.
we try to do the best we can, keeping, and I don't want to say keeping them honest, just keeping them tight money-wise. But
Well,
there's
Mike always
there's a
is a
huge
good
there's a huge
negotiator,
value
too.
to what they do for
Yeah.
us, and
Right.
we can't do it
Right.
in house. So we'll keep you posted. We just wanted to like drop this news off, and then
Okay,
we'll be back with more details.
more details to
Yeah.
follow,
Yeah,
okay.
more details to follow. Thank you.
Highland Street update?
Yep.
I drove down today, so I saw that they're
Oh, yeah.
starting to
Okay.
remove concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a few key things I identified in review of the plans that the town had
Right, you had created
proposed.
a big list.
Yeah, so there was some potential conflicts with sewer lines, and there was some changes made to the drainage design to accommodate that, but not everything. So there are some things, some structures specifically that may still sit directly over a sewer line.
So you're
And-
talking about
Maintenance
maintenance
issues.
manhole or,
It's essentially a storm drain catch basin type structure
right over our sewer line?
directly over the sewer line potentially.
Okay.
Um, and there's been note from the town highway manager that those structures cannot be moved. There's not much room for them, and this is their only option.
Well, there is a lot of, are they in the ledge area of Highland?
They're mostly up by Smith Street and then down by Broadway.
It's
Okay,
tight.
it's
Yeah.
very tight
It's
in
tight.
there, yep.
Yeah. So, that's the feedback I received from him on that. I did express my concern. It potentially hampers future maintenance of the line on our end. If something happens to the line, we will have to excavate the entire drainage structure to
Right,
get to it,
Yeah.
right.
and then replace it again. So that is a concern.
Yep.
Well, and there's not a whole lot we can do about the fact that there's significant slope in there, the road's somewhat narrow. I mean, you gotta put the catch basins where you're
Yeah.
capturing the water, so
So that
I assume,
So yeah, there's also services throughout that area that have not been identified, and we're not sure still if there are potential conflicts with those either, and what the mitigation
For them
plan
to tie
is.
in to the,
There's services, sewer services going to the north of the road, so the sewer line sits on the south side of the road.
Right, so
it
and the
has to
services
cross
are
over.
crossing it. Some of the storm drain is proposed to go down the center line of the road. So there's potential there for it to cross those services, and I'm not sure exactly the efforts being made or what the plan is, if they do run into a conflict there.
Where two pipes would essentially
Right.
intersect,
What would happen?
because they've already set elevation for all the pipe leading to it. They're not gonna discover that until they hit that point? Is that more or less what's?
Essentially, yeah. From what I understand, the methods of construction would be they're setting the structures and then running the pipe in between the structures.
Yes,
So they'll set the structures to their elevations of what their proposed inverts are,
right.
and then they'll run the pipe between the structures. So at that time, there may,
Then they'll know what the slope is and all of that.
right. So I'm not sure what the course of action is if they do run into a conflict there.
I mean,
Is-
changing the proposed road elevation, I mean, that
I was
could
gonna
be.
say, what is the, what's the likelihood that they're gonna hit, I'm trying to think what side of the road. The majority of the services are gonna be on the south side of Highland, right?
There
The
are houses
only-
on both sides.
The only services that are crossing Highland from the south to the north are the sewer. The water line sits mostly on the north side of the road, so the water
Oh,
services.
so we've got water that's crossing as well.
The water's
That's
more,
right, 'cause
the
there's
water's
a
more
drain.
flexible than the sewer, obviously. You can move the
Right,
water line up or
right,
down, but the
right.
sewer needs the slope, same as the
Gravity.
drainage needs the slope,
Right,
to get to be conveyed to the next structure. So that's, the give and take there. We'll see. Nothing has happened so far.
Right. I was
believe
gonna
they
say, I
just
wonder what
began
the-
this week.
wonder what
Yeah.
the chance is that they'll actually have to intersect exactly.
Well, that's
I guess we wait
To
and
be
see.
determined.
not a happy day.
Yeah.
My understanding also is they're doing the upper portion, the lower portion, then the middle, isn't that something like, there's a
I'm
certain?
not sure of that sequence.
Okay. Because that further ties you into existing, once you've set those road elevations, and
Right.
the two in the middle, if you hit two on the
Right, if
ends,
you
and
hit
get something in the
something, you're
middle.
kind of in
We
the,
were
between a rock and
told
rock.
that the road elevation will not change. We told the road elevation will stay the same because we had questions about our existing
right.
structures being raised or adjusted.
listed, right.
And it was said that the elevation would stay the same, so there would be no adjustment needed.
Nice.
So we don't have to worry about ringing the manholes or raising and lowering manholes. Everything's gonna be.
At this point, that's what we were told, yeah.
Okay. And as we wait and see.
Now, some of them they're gonna be digging real close to, so they may need to be repaired or adjusted as needed. We'll be keeping a close eye on that.
Yeah. Well, if they're repaving the whole road, then our manholes are gonna be impacted at some point.
Correct, but the elevation, the
Right,
grade should be the same.
elevations,
Yeah.
right, but what I'm thinking is that we're not gonna have to be like,
So
Hopefully.
that's something that's, was in the, it was a general note in the plans, said the contractor would be responsible if adjustment is needed.
okay.
Yeah,
And I'm assuming the contractor has to, come to us
Yep.
to inspect and make sure that the riser rings are fine and everything else if they're adjusting our manholes.
yep.
Okay. It is what it is. Hopefully, we'll just keep our fingers crossed that nobody hits nothing.
Right. Well, thank you, Jason. That's really helpful to understand what's going on. Do we know how long the work's gonna be
I
going there?
believe until school starts in September, is that correct, Brian? No?
I was just notified today that the schedule the Tulip has given to the town is on the website,
Okay,
town website, and it will be posted on Channel 3 for all the townspeople. I also can talk with you later about it if you want the
Sure.
schedule. It should go paving, if everything goes well, paving should end the 31st, if everything goes well.
Of August, presumably, Richardson, yeah.
So,
Wow,
Okay.
that's
which
quick.
is, which
That's actually
is
really
the
quick.
beginning of that last week of August is the beginning of school.
Mhm.
So school runs 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, and then we have, well, the elementary school has off.
Right, for Labor Day. and-
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so next up are purchase recs.
Mr. Chairman?
Oh, yeah.
Old business.
This just came in today, so it's new business. We received a ZBA public hearing notice
Mm-hmm.
for property
Sort of
that,
butter.
well, we are, but it doesn't say where. It's just there's a hearing next, the 7th, whenever that is, but it doesn't say which property. So if anybody wants to explore or attend, they'll have to find out what property the owner lives in Campton apparently. And it doesn't, there's a case number, but no map and lot. So we don't know what it is. But it came in today, so I thought we could announce it
Okay,
as we normally do.
right.
I guess it would be a call into Brian
Yeah,
to
no,
find out.
I know how we can find
Yeah.
out. I just
Yeah.
had it on my desk tonight.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
And I won't see you. Well, I'll see you we have a meeting that night.
okay,
So maybe it's you, or we'll find out where it is.
Mhm.
And it may not matter, depending on what property and what's being
it
proposed.
says in the village.
It says a virtual reality arcade and frozen yogurt sales in the village commercial zone. The applicant
So-
needs a special exception, which should be a
But it's
challenge.
still, right, it's still
But
presumably
if it's
some existing.
downtown,
Yeah,
it sounds like it's probably some existing.
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah,
Yep,
We'll find out and we'll let you know.
okay.
yep. Back to purchase recs.
All right, yeah.
Got six.
Yep.
6 of them this time around. First up is, thank you. First up is $1,352.50 payable to Ready Equipment to rent is the boom lift to do some work on water tanks. Number 2, $1,250 even to Enviro Systems for permit and testing for or effluent testing and supporting chemistry. Number 3, $561.93 payable to USA Blue Book for valves used on Foster Street. Number 4, $6,099.94 payable to Ferguson for manhole cover supplies. Number 5, $12,200 even to Dead River for propane at various locations. Number 6, $7,880 even to Underwater Solutions for cleaning of the
The little frogmen are coming back.
the 2.5 million gallon and the 5 million gallon storage tanks.
I will make a motion, we accept the purchase recs as read.
Second. All those in
Whoa,
favor?
whoa, whoa, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
question.
yeah, yes.
The 12,200 for Dead River, is that the yearly thing?
It's for,
Or 6
Blanket.
months?
it's for the rest of the year.
Okay,
Yep.
that's what I meant.
And Fred was able to lock in a price.
Oh,
All
good.
right.
And like I said, our frogmen are coming back to scrub
Yeah.
the inside of the tanks,
Yep,
And
hence
inspect.
the reason for the boom lift.
yep, yeah, it's been three years now.
Yep.
So, on a three-year cycle, we'll be getting them back.
They will be videotaping
I'm here
as
too long if the
usual.
frogmen are coming back.
Yep. Yep,
Okay.
and we've also notified them of the area that was repaired
Oh,
last
yes,
year.
Right.
re-inspect
For the
that.
spalling.
They're
Yes.
gonna inspect that closely again.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll look forward to the video.
Oh, yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sign away.
Sorry. Can't listen to public comments or something.
Any public comment?
As public, yes, as the public.
Yes.
Just when you were talking about press release
Yes.
for the money that was awarded, will you be including like the order of projects that you would like to get done first, or just so
No,
the
we
ratepayers know?
talked through that tonight, but it's not in the news release.
So,
The news release is more about, we got all this grant money, we've been working hard to do it, here are the projects,
And thank you very
and the
much.
thank yous.
so
It's not like a time frame news release at all. We're just getting going with engineering and things.
yeah, I know. I mean, talking with other ratepayers in the district, people are a little curious on how and when the money will be spent.
Oh, send them our way.
Send them right in.
Well, call me, talk to me, email me. If you've got ratepayers that have questions, have them get in touch.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering when the engineering or, you guys talked about a new well. That was part of the bonded money?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that in the foreseeable future?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. Yep, whether we get funding from DES and NBTE, we are marching forward with that project, and that will be in Holderness, as you know.
Right, right.
But that work's gonna be ongoing for several years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If I may.
We have exploratory work to do for the next year and a half or two.
That should be on.
Right.
Yeah, if you look in the town report, Brian, I believe there's a capital improvements plan in there that outlines the 5-year plan. Most of those projects are outlined in there.
Very good.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, we skipped our public hearing at 5:45.
Oh.
We didn't skip it, we just didn't get to it yet.
Right.
You might want the minutes.
Well, all right, so assuming public comment is up, then yes, we're a little bit behind, but we're gonna open our second public hearing on the rules and regulations, our new proposed revised rules and regulations.
These were
So
discussed in detail last meeting at the first hearing.
The highlights were discussed in detail
In our
and,
last meeting.
and at our last
And
meeting.
there's been the draft document's been on the website.
Draft document's been on the website. We have updated all of the copies, including the website, with the minor edits from last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to Jason, everything's bookmarked now. And we made our thank yous to everybody at the first hearing. So
Mm-hmm.
if somebody has comment about it, we'll be happy to hear it.
Otherwise, we can accept them, right?
Well, we were gonna wait for Steve.
Oh,
You
okay,
promised him.
right.
Yeah.
That's right, next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right, we did. Okay, next meeting's August 7th?
So August 7th, yes, will be assuming there's no further questions or comments, then yes, we'll approve the new document at that time.
Great.
So how,
And just so you know, we sent to Mr. Bolton the pages that we repaired.
okay, yes.
Okay.
he had
So
asked
his
about-
copy
right.
should be whole if he cares
Just
to
takes
print.
the papers
Yeah,
out.
2 or 3 pages. So we didn't have copies out there floating around that weren't good.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well,
Non-public?
yeah, I'd say,
Non-public?
So you close the hearing?
yes, oh yes,
Okay.
close the hearing, yes,
All
at
right.
8 minutes after.
And I'll make a motion, we go into non-public session pursuant to RSA 91A, Section 3, or colon 3, Section 1.
Second, all's in
Okay.
favor?
That